Good morning again, and I appreciate everybody attending. Again, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I started here in 1982 as a rookie patrolman and left the police department and went to the sheriff's office and later retired there and came back here in 2014 and was selected as chief of police. Just to let you know a little bit about our stats, we've answered 19,680 calls for service this year already in the town of Hardeeville. And what you see before you is my command staff that does a very good job of handling the day-to-day operations with the police department. And it's necessary for each one of these gentlemen to have a role in how the police department acts, how we train, and how to handle you, the public. And I'd like to give them a round of applause. Again, I have a staff of 47 right now. We're short about 4 people. And I want you to understand, when I started back in 1982, I think we had five patrolmen. And the biggest thing we had to do with the 2 square miles of Hardeeville back in 1982 was count bricks on the bank to make sure nobody stole any. Of course, the city has grown to 60 square miles and quite growth in population, and you're also going to see a lot more growth here in the next 10 years. And we're looking at maybe adding another 40 police officers with the growth that we see coming. So again, it's a big responsibility. Like I said, I used to hunt all these woods out here now in our houses as a young kid when I was growing up here in Hardeeville. So again, I appreciate y'all coming out, and all this is to get a communications with you pastors that have a population in your churches and stuff, and you see things that and hear things that might go on that we might need to know about ahead of time. And that's why we need to have these talks. I give out my business card, and I want you to use that card at any time that you need to call and talk to the chief of police. Please do not hesitate to use that card. I have 2 phones. I'm available 24/7. And again, thank you, and I'll turn it over to my assistant chief. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you all again for coming. For those of you I haven't met, my name is Scott Bubiglia. I'm the assistant police chief with Hardeeville. I'm in my 33rd year of law enforcement. I recently retired as a police chief outside of Cincinnati. Came to work down here. It's my pleasure to work for Chief Woodward in the city. At this point in my career, I can only work for so many people, right? But I've really enjoyed working with the chief, the staff, and the city council, and the city manager. Everything's going very well here, and we should be proud of what's being built right in front of us. I'm just going to talk to you all for a minute about trust. Trust can't be demanded. Trust can't be expected. Trust is earned. Trust is built through little actions at a time. I was police chief outside of Cincinnati when the riots hit. My jurisdiction survived because of trust that is built inside of that community. We mean what we say what we mean, right? Trust is built every day through gradual, consistent actions and accountability. And if we fall short, and we know all men fall short, right? Please hold us accountable. Please reach out to us. And please help us see what we could be doing better, what we're doing well, but know that we're here for all of Hardeeville and all of Jasper County. It's my pleasure to work with this command staff. They're men and women with integrity. It's my pleasure to be part of this city. Thank you for having me. I'm going to turn it over to Captain Jacobs. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
I don't know how easy it's going to be to follow up with what he just did, but I'm going to give it my best. I am Captain Jonah Jenkins. I started my career here as well in the city of Hardeeville over 20 years ago. Over 20 years ago, I came into a department that had one single patrol officer that worked night shift, one single patrol officer that worked day shift, and an officer that worked traffic enforcement. So between then and now, we're sitting at a staff of where we could be at about 51 officers. So the growth has been there. I also am going to talk a little bit about the trust because my job in the police department deals with accreditation. I'm not sure if many of you understand what accreditation is, but there are two different types of accreditation. There's a state accreditation, through, which is the South Carolina Law Enforcement Accreditation Coalition, and then there is the CALIA, which is a national accreditation. So it is the chief's jobs to set focus and direction. It is our job as the command staff to carry out the mission. A few years ago, the chief of police made the decision to move forward with becoming an accredited agency in the state of South Carolina. How valuable is this? Well, let me tell you that there are 272 law enforcement agencies in the state of South Carolina. 272. Out of that 272, only 49 of those agencies are accredited, and only 19 of those 49 are municipal governments. So the Hardeeville Police Department is seeking to become one of the 19 agencies out of 272 in the state that says we want to build public trust, we want to open up lines of communication, we want to be the most transparent agency that you have, we want to limit the risk of liability on our officers in the community, and we want to do it with integrity and professionalism every day we come to work. What better way to do that than to come together with two of the most important groups that the city has to offer, the churches and its local law enforcement. Local law enforcement, just like the churches, have the ability to reach out to a lot of people, just like the local churches do. So when we come into a room together like this, it's an honor to be here because it gives us the opportunity to meet you, to learn about you, and the same for us. Again, I am the accreditation manager at the Hardeeville Police Department. If you need me, you know where I'm at. My chief does not allow me to leave my desk between the hours of 9 and 5, even for lunch sometimes, so you can find me right there if you want me. But I will tell you that what you see before you, and this is so much truth, is some of the finest command staff that you're going to find in this country. I have never worked in the 20 plus years of law enforcement that I've got with a group of more dedicated individuals to carrying out the directives of accreditation and making our agency become the professional agency it needs to be than these gentlemen sitting right here before you. Does anybody have anything for me? I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Walker Michaud from the Investigations Division. Thank you.
Morning.
Morning, board.
All right, the chief's got me discussing active shooter threats or active attack threats is one of my responsibilities with our team, our CRAZE training that we offer here at the police department and the city of Hardeeville, along with some fraud and scam alerts that we have. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up some communication and offer a hand. So we offer to our houses of worship, our businesses and everything else, CRAZE training. I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with that. Well, that is a citizen's response to active shooter events. Okay. It is not just active shooters, but any kind of attack. What we can do is come in, and we've done it with several churches and schools. We will come into your facilities or houses of worship and conduct a threat assessment with your safety teams. I know we have safety teams here already. If you guys don't have any in place, we can help to try to form a safety team for your organization or your church. We're happy to do that. So again, like the mayor said, this is all about communication. While we're sitting here today, I put my card in front of you. If any of you have any questions about it or anything that we can do to help, it's about having the hard conversations. I understand it's a very hard conversation to have, but it is a reality that we live in. And I'd love to have the time to sit down and talk with you guys. We have several officers at the department that are certified in this training, to include myself and officers here, that we can come in and have the training at your facility and do an assessment. Every facility is different. Every house is different. So we try to formulate the training to your house, not just say, hey, this is how, and a way to do it is all it is. It's not the way to do it. So we like to do it with you guys. We understand we've had some incidents in churches, in the community recently, nothing violent, with stuff that could have potentially turned violent. But we'd like to go ahead and try to prevent that ahead of time and not just react. Our chief's very proactive, our command staff's very proactive, and our officers are outstanding. So we'd love to extend that hand, and I'd like to talk to you guys about it today. If you have any questions before I sit down, just target a question, let me know, and we could talk about it. When it comes to fraud, it's the same thing. Fraud or scams, Our biggest thing right now is our elderly community, okay? A lot of our church community as well that you guys meet every day might have been victims of some of these scams. We have some that have gotten discredited enough as posed as officers. We're in information age where all of our names and all of our information are on our website. So a lot of what we're seeing is that a trend, a common trend, or things that have happened recently. People posing as officers saying somebody's missed jury duty, for example. Reaching out to the elderly community and it scares them. So they ask for their pertinent information and they will open accounts or they will find a way to exploit them financially. Have them send money via the internet, over the phone, get green dot cards. Another one is cryptocurrency deposits. I don't know if you've seen these ATMs that are around town and all over the communities throughout the United States. Going as far as say, hey, go to a cryptocurrency ATM and deposit this amount. There's no time ever that that's going to happen for law enforcement. And we're going to ask anybody for money at all. That is not our place. That is not our job, and we will never do that. We're happy if you guys have men's groups, women's groups, anything like that in your congregations that you want us to come speak with, because there's so many different examples. I can talk for hours about it, and we'd be happy to do that. But 2 to 5 minutes is not going to be enough for me to cover that with you guys today. But I'd be happy while we're sitting here, if you guys got specific examples or need examples to take back to your congregations that I can help with or we can help with, I'd be happy to do that. But I think it's just having those hard conversations, especially when it comes to elderly abuse, fraud scams. We got the financial institutions in the area that have helped out. Department of Social Services now, since I've got 3 referrals this week for our office that we've already sent out. Our chief reads every report that comes into our office. He assigns probably 90% of the cases that come into our office. I'm talking about 19,000 and some change, 60 and 61. I'd say probably 90% of those cases get some kind of special attention and follow-up. Our officers have 24 hours to contact a victim or a complainant and make sure to make contact and provide an adequate service to the communities. So again, these are just a couple small things that we can do to help out. I'd love to talk with you guys about it. Anything we can do to help. A threat assessment I think would be very helpful for your houses of worship. I'm happy to do it. We've got several other officers that would be happy to come help. So anybody have any questions for me? I know I kind of flew through it, but I don't have too much. Yes, sir.
How to do that, with the,
For AI and preventative measures, education. Education communication is the only thing we can do right now because there's not a complete way to prevent it because it's adapting so quickly. When it's changing and but again, I think education, communication, we can sit down and say, hey, these are specific examples that we've seen in our community and other places and get out ahead of it. Same thing with the threats that we talk about. That's the only way to do it. We don't talk about it and we don't educate ourselves. So we're not going to go prevent it at all. We can react to it, but it doesn't stop it. It doesn't prevent it. Yes, ma'am.
Who do you contact directly if you're interested in having the training in offensive force?
I put my card in front of you, I believe. It's yes, ma'am. You just contact me directly. My email's on there, my cell phone number, my desk number. I'll give you every number we have. Yes, ma'am. They contact you directly. I'll set up that training for you guys, and we'll get it. If we usually do it teams of 2, we had at least 2 officers to be out there, and we'll have that training for you. Okay, we like to know what facility we're going to do it at, so we could tailor the training for each one because they're not all the same. Churches are different than businesses. We do their businesses too. Also different than schools. So yes, we like to tailor it in the specific.
And I did want to add, Corporal Ben did do the active shooter training just at a Godfrey last year, this year actually doing a summit with us.
We like to do it annually. You want to keep doing a facility and want to set up a date or even biannually, we can do that too. We'd like to go ahead and get dates in the books and start doing it. Fort Buchanan is one of their ARC Starford. We have, I think 5 right now that are certified. And we could probably use some more. Anybody else have any quick questions? And I'll be happy to answer any while we're sitting here eating. Yes, sir.
One of our purposes today, thank you so much. One of our purposes today is not to give you training in all of these things, is to let you know that the Hardeeville Police Department is offering this service to every congregation. And I don't know if anybody's gone through any of these active shooter presentations. There's a lot of really good information. So I just wanted to reinforce what's being said. We are offering you and your congregations at any time to take advantage of the knowledge that the Hardeeville Police Department has to help a bit. These are unusual times and places of worship, as we all know, have been a target not only for active shooters but also for scams. So please, I encourage you to take advantage of what's being offered.
You asked if it's the East Rider plot. Used to like a strike, at least get was 2 hours. It's very hard to fit it into just half an hour. I've had to do it into 2-day blocks. I know it's hard in scheduling, but our certification to be able to sign off on, posing this training, we're supposed to have at least 2 hours to present it because it is a formal training. Any other questions? All right, please reach out to me. I'll be here. Big sign of the time. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to have Lieutenant Scott Melnick from our Support Services Division.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate everybody coming. I oversee the Support Services Division at the Hardeeville Police Department. That encompasses the community-oriented police, its school resource officers, and evidence. What I wanted to talk about today is our Citizens Police Academy. I think it's a wonderful program. We have the full support of the chiefs, captain, everybody in the police department is excited about our Citizens Police Academy. It allows citizens to engage and learn about police operations. Every division commander will attend a class from training, patrol, administration, accreditation, investigations, chiefs. They come in and get a unique perspective on what we do every day, what our divisions do every day, from, like I said, from investigations to the new guy on the road and how he gets to be certified and do all those things. We learn about call processing, crime investigation, charging, prosecuting offenders. Also, you can learn how our perspective on how you should be treated, how law enforcement and the community builds those trusts that we were talking about earlier. The first class was in 2024. We had over a dozen graduates. This year's class had 22. And it lasts 8 weeks. And the best part is the Alumni Association afterwards. So what happens is we have graduates join a volunteer group supporting the department year-round. If you've been to our festivals, you see Festival on Main, they've been there. They were at the Christmas parade handing out candy. They volunteer, they love to be a part of it. So for one officer, we have probably 4 or 5 volunteers that come and help us out. They're invaluable. So, like I said, their commitment strengthens the bond between the department and the community. If any of you, I believe we're having one in March. I talked to Corporal Ginn. If anybody is interested, please reach out to me. I apologize, I didn't have a card. I forgot them. But just if you call and ask for me, I'll make sure that the process is simple. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
After probably do for Hurricane, Sandy. Like what do y'all have the handgun trained also?
We go over it, but we don't go to the range or do things in that.
Extra shot.
And who knows where it goes. It's our second year. And did you enjoy that?
Yes, I did.
Yes, ma'am.
Screening process.
Do a background check. And really that's it. Just do a background check and we make sure that everybody's on the up and up. We haven't had any issues.
Your name is again?
Scott Melnick, Melnick. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Välkommen Ursula-musikration.
Yes.
I recognize it.
Warren, share yours.
Yes, so I was in the last class that went by, and I thought I knew
quite a bit of what these guys do on the street. Well, it was an eye-opener for me, and I learned so much of what they do and how they interact with the public. And there's so much of misconceptions between police and everyday citizens, and they were able to dispel quite a few of those misconceptions. And we also had the opportunity to go into Judge Nancy's courtroom and see a typical situation play out. And it was a very eye-opening experience to see how Judge Nancy conducts courtroom activities in there and how the police interact with the suspect and the victim, and how the process plays out in the city. So it's a very interesting program to send our citizens through. I think people learn a lot, and HPD, these guys do a fantastic job. And as far as I'm concerned, they were able, not just for myself, but for the other students in the class that came from all walks of life. They had all kinds of different nationalities in there. And those folks left with a completely different perspective of what HPD does in their city. So I think they did a fabulous job sending us through that academy. So, yeah,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Kind workers. It is a lot of fun.
It also, just to add on for the Citizens Police Academy, the Hardeeville Police Department also allows the ride-along program. Now, the ride-along program is great and very unique in its own sense. Now, granted, it's not 8 weeks. I don't know that anybody want to sit in the patrol car for 8 weeks on a ride-along, but you certainly can come out during the daytime where we can pair you up with a specific officer, and you really get to see the interaction, and you get to see the calls that come through the radio and how they're handled, and some of the things that we do to really safeguard the community. And just really quick, just to give you an example of this, a few years ago there was a lot of conflict between the citizens and its law enforcement for various reasons. And I had a lady from Savannah, Georgia. She was I would say probably mid-50s, that reached out, and she said, "I'd really like to come do a ride-along." She said, I'm listening to the news, I'm doing these things, I see what's going on, and she said, "I just can't wrap my head around what's happening out here on the street." So she came out. It was specifically for a Friday night. She came out Friday night, and my goodness, every type of call that you would want to come across the radio for her to experience happened Friday night. She called Saturday and wanted to come back, in which we allowed. Monday, I received a phone call from her, and she said, "I'm going to be honest with you." She said, "I had no clue that law enforcement was doing some of the things that they do behind the scenes." And one example of that are these anonymous calls that we get, where somebody may call and say, someone's doing drugs outside of, this apartment or this or that. It's our responsibility and our duty to respond and investigate these instances. Well, you talk to the people. Sometimes the folks think that you're just out there, being aggressive and trying to, do whatever it is that we're trying to do. And what we don't say is, your neighbor called about you. We just take those hits as law enforcement. We take those hits and we say, yeah, well, we're here, we're doing a job. So you really get to see those things. In order to do a ride along, you can pass that along to your churches. We do a background check. We, just like the Citizens Police Academy, we vet everybody that comes through this program. So we do all of that. But driver's check, of course, we have to do all these things, and we get a hit. Now, we have to limit the liability. And of course, it's my job, I told you earlier, to make sure that we are limiting the liability on us and you. So when you do a ride along, you can't get out of the car. You could be in the car, you could observe, you could do all these things, but we don't let you physically get out and interact. So I'd have to tell you that that's not ultimately a part of it. But there's so many things that we do to get the community together and see exactly what it is and how the day-to-day operations of our agency work. So I just wanted to add that tidbit of information as well.
Thank you. Any other questions, concerns? I look forward to hearing from you guys. Yes?
Ken was when?
Usually we have the classes here, but like Ms. Guzman said, we'll go to the courtroom
and do some things. So some things may take place outside the classroom, but it's here at the rec center.
And possibly March.
March, yes, March is the preliminary things. I don't know that be chosen the exact date, but it'll go from March to May. Good?
And it's only once a week for 2 hours. Is it 2 hours or? I believe it's about 2 hours, but the 2 hours will just fly by.
The first hour,
Yeah.
excuse me, strict. The first hour is usually the command staff describing their division, whatever we're studying that day, and then whatever the material is. Correct. A lot of good questions in the class too. It's fun.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
Next up, we're going to have Lieutenant Frank Levis. He is over our Comparative Division.
All right. Good morning again. So what I'm going to be talking about is a program that we have that's called the Meetup Spot. It was something that was designed some time back for buyers and sellers from the marketplace to do the transactions in a safe location. So something that we have implemented at Hardyville Police Department is a Meetup Spot. So if you have a chance to go by the police department and go in the parking lot, you're going to see a green sign that's on a light pole. What the requirements that they have if you want to have this at your police department is they have to be a brightly lit up spot at 24/7. There has to be under surveillance or under camera, which we have. So if you go there, you can go to a safe location and you'll be able to be seen, and the transactions being recorded. That way you're not being taken advantage by someone that's scamming you online. So it's nationwide, and if you want to see where all the meetup spots are at, you go to this site that's called Safe Trade Spots Locator, and it will show you where you can go. If you put in Hardyville, South Carolina, it'll tell you where that meetup spot is. You for South Carolina, it'll do. So anywhere in the nation, you're able to locate a Safe Trade Spot Locator. We'll show you that, okay? So that's all I was going to present today for the meetup spot, to make sure you're aware that we have that in our PD now. Is there any questions? So if you ever want to call me for anything dealing with the administrative portion of it, my number is 843-368-4541. That's my work cell phone number. It's 843-368-4541. And I also didn't bring my cards to present to you, so I apologize. But feel free to give me a call, and we can get you connected to everybody here.
Excuse me, roll that number back again.
Absolutely. It's 843-368-4541. And again, my name is Frank Lemus, Lieutenant Frank Lemus, and I'll be able to assist you with the administrative stuff.
If I could suggest, Cindy, would you please make sure everybody choose come, you give everybody's name, their cell phone numbers that they're giving out, and also any websites that they share this morning. Okay, would you please? So for those, don't worry if you forgot your card to send me out all the information. I would not very good pass on, I'll add something else to you, okay?
This meetup spot, and this is a big one, and Chief Woodward's the one that brought it up, and I thank you for that. Yes, we have an uptick in crime that involves people meeting up to make transactions. You don't ever want to go I'm going to tell you, don't go to somebody's house to make a transaction for something you found on Marketplace. Use these spots. Eyes in the sky, lit up spots, that's what you do. But the other side to this is that people don't think about are custody exchanges. Custody exchanges bring problems, and I hate to say it like that, but when you get a divorced parent on this side, a divorced parent on this side, and they're making a child custody exchange, things can get a little out of hand. So this is also one of those spots that both parties can meet. Now, there's a couple that have been meeting at the Hardyville Police Department that I know of for probably the last 5 years. And religiously every Friday you see this one particular person, the husband shows up, they do the child custody exchange, and they go about their business. But again, audio, video, all these things are very important. So just keep that in mind that it can also be utilized for those types of events. Thank you. Next up, we're going to have Lieutenant Dustin Creel. He is the Patrol Division Commander here at Hardyville Police Department.
Good morning. Like the captain said, I'm over patrol. So our patrol division right now consists of 26 officers. That includes the code enforcement officer, 4 patrol teams, also the two-man traffic team. The K-9s also fall in the patrol realm as well. So I'm over the guys that are out there 24/7 every day. We change over at 6 in the morning and 6 at night. The officers I forget the name of the schedule, but they don't work every day. They work 2 days on, 2 days off, 3 days on, 3 days off. And then it just kind of rotates the opposite the following week. I do have my business cards, so I will be giving y'all one of those before we leave. But what I try to do is I try to develop a patrol officer is one of the biggest resources the city has, and they've got to be well versed in many different things. Mental health is on the rise. These scams are on the rise. Different investigations, preventative things that we can do. People have questions about civil processes. So these officers are having to take all sorts of different calls. They go from one civil call to one out of control child custody call, and back and forth. So they really got to think on their feet. They really have to be well versed in the whole realm of law enforcement, which covers a lot. And so that's what I try to do. I try to develop the best resource, the best patrolman that I can to answer your call, specifically to places of worship. We offer escorts of many different ways. We can stand by while child custody is being done. We can also stand by while church is getting out for the day. We provide escorts with, it being the holidays, we have people going back up north or going back to see family, and they want us to check on their houses. So we provide escorts for that. We go check on their houses while they're gone. Just a little communication is all it takes, and we can get that stuff in the works. That's really it. I was kind of wanting to be short. I get hit with a lot of questions when we do these. Everybody's got questions about patrol operations and what can we call for, what can we not call for. Call anytime. And if you want to push that out to your congregations, call anytime. If you have to think about it, you probably need to be calling one of us and letting us see what's going on and let's work together to navigate whatever the issue may be or whatever the question may be. But that's really it. I've got a patrol car outside. It's one of our brand new Tahoes. If you have any questions or want to come look at the car after this, feel free. I'll stick around. We'll show you the car. I've got one of our body cameras, some other pieces of gear in the car as well that we can talk about and go over. And that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else. Any questions at all? Yes, sir.
Yes, I would assume that, one of the most likely ways that publics could interact with Patrol Division is if they can pull over. So do you ever provide any training or advice to them how they can act or behave or how to approach a situation like that so that it's safe for the officers and safe for the public?
Yes, sir. And I come to any place of worship or anywhere I need to just talk as well, just like the active shooter training. We can go over that stuff in the Citizens Academy. We hit on that to try to get the message out there. Obviously, a role is traffic enforcement for the patrolmen. So I'm sorry. But they do have a job. They investigate collisions. They enforce traffic laws, write warnings and tickets and all of that stuff. That encompasses in their roles and responsibility. But yes, I'll be more than happy to speak to a congregation and go over the expectations or the officer's perspective of how everything should be ran in the safest way to go about handling that traffic stop and then just being able to communicate back and forth with the officer. Yes, sir.
Well, I want to say I appreciate you not, you all love
St. Stephen spots on the side. Yeah, you do.
That's a bad
Now, start talking y'all, right? But anyway, thank you for the fact that we are having services that I really don't see a lot of that during that hour. So I really appreciate you all, with the timing that I see. I used to joke, it's hard enough to get people to church without having to consider whether or not they're going to get stopped for speeding as they come to. So the only one you might find that possibly could do that would be me coming from Glove Desert.
That spot there is usually a good morning, good late afternoon spot. People coming back and forth, but yeah, people come through there. It's 35, and oh man, we get them excess of 70, coming into that spot. So yeah, it's a.
We often react, and just to speak on that, because I know where you're coming from, that spot right there is a place where we have received an enormous amount of complaints coming off of Jenkins. Not only is it, just the speed, it's the fact that there are so many children in that area at different times of day. And sometimes it's really hard for us to get into positions where we can monitor this, and at another time of day, that spot. Not only do we issue the citations, but we also issue warnings. And like you were asking earlier, City Manager, about the education side of it, those traffic officers educate people very fast on the side of the road when they get some of these folks at that speed. We don't always give the citation. We give the warnings as well. But it is our job to do either or. So just to hit on that, because I know where you're coming from there.
When you do it, the number one is I like the occurrence. Because our insurance is really open.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we had run into particularly late is that people come and they are coming around our property, around the rear side, driving through.
Sure.
And some of the heavier trucks, for example, we have found that they come into the lot and they do a lot of turning around, and heavy vehicles like that, they're tearing up our asphalt in some areas. And we have cameras, but some of the views from the back of our church, we have found people coming, turning around and going all the way out of view on that side.
That's something that we could pass on to our patrol division, and that way we could let them know, looking out for those trucks that are doing that. We've had that kind of complaint from, some of the other churches as well in the area, people using it as a turnaround spot. And you're right, as heavy as they are, that's a grass lot ultimately. So I know it does damage, but we can be able to look out for that. We see those folks doing it, we can talk to them about it.
We've got cameras in that area as well, so we could work together and figure that out. So, any other questions about patrol or code enforcement or traffic enforcement? All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Last but not least, we got Lieutenant Aaron Aber. He is over the training division here at the Hardeeville Police Department. As you can tell by all of his medals on his chest there, every training officer got all salad up there.
Good morning again. Like the captain said, I'm Aaron Nigg. I'm the lieutenant of the training division. My main responsibility is to track all of the training for the 47 officers that we have. That includes all the training from the academy. Over a 3-year period, all officers have to have at least 40 hours of training. That whether it be from something that's issued out from the academy or in-service training. So I have to make sure that I manage all those things, make sure I get those things pushed out to them. They don't like me because I push out a lot of training, but it's what's needed and it has to happen. So that's what I do. I also schedule and coordinate any training that goes on here at the police department. I think we have posted maybe four or five classes here in this building over the last few months. We had one last week, which was NAMI, Crisis Intervention Training. So that deals with mental health and autism and suicide. So that was a week-long class. And some pepper ball stuff, taser. I'm also instructing all of those things, and we also have several other instructors. So that is my main duty. I also the quartermaster, so I issue gear, get gear, purchase gear, all that good stuff. So, does anyone have any questions? Sir.
Here, I saw you last week, doing that training, and you got some interesting equipment that you were using. Talk about that a little bit.
Okay, that is a part of the Axon Interior program. So what we have is a virtual reality system. That's part of the Axon contract, and what it is pretty much a headset. You can put it on, and inside the headset is just like being out on the street. So Axon has put in a lot of work and in their technology. So you put the headset on, and we can put you in a scene where you respond to a call for service, traffic stop. You can respond to a domestic, certain apps within the VR system, community engagement. That's just you going out and just responding. So what happens in that? You get asked a question from the victim and or suspect, and you have to choose correct answer. If you don't choose correct answer in that, you fail, and you have to start over again. So it's a training aid for our officers to learn how to ask the right questions and talk to people on the street so we can settle disputes and situations appropriately. Also within that, there's a training simulator. So we have a VR pistol as well as a taser. So you can do all the taser training in there, proper probe placement, as well as on the pistol side, shooting targets and all those good things. Recently they've updated it. I know somebody asked about AI earlier. There's a app inside called Verbal Skills, which we respond to a call for service, and AI pretty much takes over. They talk to you, you talk back to them through the headset, and then it recognizes your voice and your responses to certain questions. And just as long as those responses are proper, the scenario ends. If it's not, then you have to pretty much ask the right questions in order for that scenario to end like it should. Okay? Any other questions? Sir.
All right, listen. You had a case or GTOP. Okay.
So some of us are crisis intervention certified, myself being one, Lieutenant Krill is one, and then we had a few officers go last week in that NAMI class. So we do have officers that are trained in how to deal with mental health, PTSD, suicide, and all those good things. And it is our goal to make sure that all of our officers go through that training at some point.
Those you find work that be homeless sometimes?
Sometimes, yes. Most of our homeless population are vets who are experiencing homelessness. But for the most part, we do everything that we can for them. Yeah, whether it be getting them something to eat or whatever the case is. I know the Berkshire Mission down there kind of buys them the food. But if they do need some assistance, we can facilitate that for, or get them some information when it gets. All right.
I want to just commend you all for, well, first of all, about 3 months ago, we had someone who has some mental health issues, and you were called, not I didn't call you, some accommodation call. And this young lady was in the congregation, and we had 2 officers that came in, and they were most appropriate in terms of asking the right questions and being able to kind of diffuse the situation. The only commentary at our call for, and they were very cordial with me as well, and said to me if there was anything else that they could do, that they would be available, asked me if I felt threatened in any way or felt safe as far as the other members of the congregation, and I said we were fine and we would call. The only observation that I would make, and I have no idea about what protocol would be in those instances in terms of uniform, but what happened was I felt some people being just completely frightened just because the 2 officers that came had bulletproof vests and had all of the other things, and so they were great, as I said. It's just that the in terms of presentation and how that looked, people begin to get really tense, and so the thing I would just offer as commentary, and I don't know how much influence or whether you could even prepare for such a scenario like that. But once they were in and we began to talk, it was okay. But I think initially just the presence and with all of that, people just began to get tense. And even the person
that was there begin to tense up. So just like I said, now I don't know how much of that you can control because you don't know, I would assume when you're approaching a situation, what is going to be called for. So I would imagine that could be hard to do. But the bottom line is I wanted to compliment how you handled that particular situation. And also the fact that your officer said to me, there's anything else that was needed, it's just to let them know.
And going to your point, Pastor Johnson, that's why it's very important for civilians to attend the Civilian Police Academy, because it teaches us civilians what these guys do every single day. And I would not want to be in their shoes ever, even if they paid me 6 figures. Because these guys' heads are constantly on a swivel and they have to turn on a dime at the drop of a hat. And I don't know how many of us are able to do that, because you guys are always, you don't know what you're walking into. It can be just an ordinary call that can go sideways really, really fast. And you have families to go to at the end of the day, and that is my prayer, that when I see y'all out on the road, God, please let them go home to their family that you will make a shift, because I know what y'all do every single day. Going through that training was an eye-opener for a lot of us and gave us an appreciation of what y'all do every single day. Y'all put y'all's lives on the line for us. So whatever it takes to protect y'all is my prayer. So thank you for what y'all do out there to keep us safe.
Just going to share really quick the fortunate in regards to your mental health and the training that you were referred to by Department of Public Health comes to the campus of Greater Pentecostal Temple every third Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. to address issues just as you were referring to. And the question is you didn't ask over here. So it is available every third Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Whether there's a scheduled appointment or not, anybody just needs to talk to somebody, meeting that mental health consult. At the moment, they're available to do that.
Did someone else have another questions? All right, I'll close up for the police department side of these things, and I'll tell you on behalf of the Hardeeville Police Department, Chief Paviglia, Chief Woodward, we thank everybody for allowing us to be here this morning to discuss what we've discussed. It take 2 seconds for me to kind of walk you back through the last 10 years and the transformation that the Hardeeville Police Department has made under the leadership and guidance of Chief Woodward. Years ago, President Obama ordered some very important law enforcement officials across the United States to create what it would take to create some more professional organizations to start doing the right things. And what they came up with was the 6 pillars to law enforcement. And what's important about those 6 pillars is the number one thing that the law enforcement agencies decided was that we had to build trust and legitimacy throughout our departments. And the way that we do that is by accreditation processes, implementing the right practices and procedures for us to abide by. The other thing, obviously, that encompassed the policy and oversight was technology and social media. And I'd be amiss not to introduce Brianna Jones, who's been in this room, and we haven't had an opportunity to call her name yet. But she is our brand new well, I'll say brand new, she's been there for a little while now, but she is the first ever Hardeeville Police Department specific public information officer. And why do we do that? Because it's very important for law enforcement to be very transparent and make sure that everything that's occurring out here gets pushed out to the community as a whole in a timely manner. We don't want to wait on these things. We want you to know things as they're happening. So Brianna Jones, thank you so much for joining us here. She is a resident, was able to stay in Florida, went to school down in Florida, came to us by way of Chatham County. She's been doing an awesome job. If you got social media presence and what you follow us on, she's doing that stuff. She couldn't rate. The other thing was offer training and education. We got Lieutenant Ager here talking about the things that we do training-wise, and listen, we push this training out perhaps more than any agency that I know of. We're training some of the best techniques this country's got to offer. And we're doing it consistently. It's not something that we just pop up and decide one day and then we don't do it later. And the last thing is the officer safety and wellness. All right, so those were the 6 pillars to law enforcement. And right now, the Hardeeville Police Department has taken a grasp on every bit of that, and we're doing everything possible to ensure that we've got the most transparent, professional organization that we can possibly provide to its citizens, who are the most important people to us. So in closing, thank you, Chief Woodward. Thank you, Chief Paviglia. The staff is here, and all of you in your churches, you got some really great information. Of course, we'll be here after we're done. Thank you guys very much, and we hope to see you sooner.
Are there any other questions before we close up today?
Our purpose and our goal, and I thank everyone from the police department, was to let you know what resources are available. This is not the finish of me, it's the start of hopefully you being aware of what resources are available to you, and you can follow up for more in-depth if you so choose. And communication is what it's all been about. So I'm going to thank you all for coming. Hope you all have a wonderful holiday season and enjoy the friendship and the camaraderie of this time of year. Thank you all for coming.